How do you successfully position your new product in a saturated marketplace that has many options for consumers, lots of demand, and fierce competition? Our guest has proven you can find a profitable and sustainable lane in a competitive environment. Oh boy, it's Fab Female Founder Friday on the Startup Life Live Show, everyone. Let's glow. Woohoo! Hello and welcome to the Startup Life Live Show. I'm your host, Andy Lyons, 4-time founder and startup champion to founders around the world. And after raising 4 businesses of my own, I got to tell you, I have a deep appreciation for what you, founder, wannabe founder, side hustling founder, are walking through every single day. I'm so proud of you for getting up and continuing, because sometimes, we're popping the champagne and everything is great. And it could be like, an hour later, and you're like, oh no, it's a disaster. So it's a real roller coaster ride. So I have such a deep appreciation for what you walk through. And I'm so glad you're here and that you carved out time to up your founder game and grab some delicious gems from the conversation we're going to have today for your startup. Because as you do better, your business will do better. So keep leveling it up. Keep your skill sets getting deeper and broader as you build your startup. I want to say a big yoo-hoo to all the live viewers tuning in today. Woohoo! Thank you for tuning in live, and to the replay viewers and my podcast listeners. You know how much I love you, and I'm so grateful that you're tuning in. And again, grabbing the gems that will help you and your business flourish. If you're tuning in from YouTube and you haven't done so already, please click on that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you receive an alert when I upload a new video or go live. And if you want to go deeper into who is on the show, please join the Startup Life Live meetup group right here. You're going to receive a deeper show notes and information about when the shows are happening, and get yourself prepared to tune in and grab, again, all the gems from our delicious conversation. I have a few, let me just bring this up here. I have a few and delicious announcements to share with all of you, okay? So let's start off with one of our favorites. I love to remind everybody every week, be sure to check out Arlen's Academy. She has so much free information there. She has founders sharing their best advice. These wonderful little video snippets, just boom, nuggets that you can get. And hello, it's free. And I wanted to share too that Zane Access is part of the Zane Venture Capital Group. It's a wonderful cohort that they have to help prepare their founders for funding. And their graduation night is Thursday, May 19th. And the keynote speaker is the founder of Calendly. So I'm just putting that out there. Go ahead and RSVP, hop on over to Zane Access and get yourself registered for this really fun event, because the founder of Calendly is going to have some wonderful gems that you would love to hear, and stories I know you'll love to hear. Then our phenomenal local VC firm here in Boston called Visible Hands, they also have an accelerator to help prepare founders. But get this, they have an accelerator that gives you $25,000 so that you can focus during their accelerator program. Then they help you with company building services. You can also earn additional investments of up to $150,000. You get tremendous community support and access to help build your social calendar. So go visit visiblehands.vc/accelerator to apply, because they extended the deadline to May 20th. Woo woo! We love to hear that. And another phenomenal, I got to tell you, I love the Babson Win Lab. Babson is so famous for being one of the best entrepreneurial undergraduate degrees, right? Well, they have a Win Lab for women. It's their Women's Entrepreneurship Accelerator, and their applications are now open for their fall 2022 cohort. And the next lab kicks off in September 2022 and will run through December 2022. So it's so phenomenal. what they do there to help prepare female founders for a successful experience. And here's another one of my favorites. The Camelback folks, they're always sharing great things. And so they have a partnership with Propeller. And Propeller is all about a force for social innovations, all about that social impact. They too have a phenomenal impact accelerator program starting up, and they're taking applications for it. So go visit that link right there, gopropeller.org/accelerator to learn more and apply. You got to suit up and show up, as we used to say, right? To make things happen for your business. And when you can get free advice along the way and support and other people's eyes on your business to help you grow and flourish, it's the best. I love accelerators. And speaking of great opportunities for you female founders, I was the guest yesterday at the monthly Female Founders Lounge and Test Kitchen. This is run by the amazing Rebecca Moore. She's the fab female founder coach you all want in your back pocket. And every month she pulls together this group and creates the space for female founders to share, to brainstorm, to get feedback, to test a beta that they might be launching, etc. It's so supportive and so wonderful. And having that mind share, sometimes just being able to talk about what's going on with you in your business and getting it up and out helps you find the answer that's probably inside of you. But I watch these women provide great feedback and great resources and great support, everybody adding wind to their sails. So be sure to go visit inanutshell.com to meet Rebecca and follow her everywhere she glows, because she's a seasoned founder bringing the gems for founders. Ta-da! So much information to have out there. Hey, Ruth, so happy to see you. And yes, we're all excited to hear Claire's startup stories and founder journey advice today. And thank you, Brent, for saying hello and tuning in from Ottawa. You're always the best, and you're always supporting diverse, especially our neurodiverse founders and companies that support neurodiverse employees. So we're so grateful for your championing us and amplifying. And now I get to go ahead and introduce you to our wonderful guest today, because I know she's waiting to come in and share all her deliciousness. Here she is. This is the wonderful Claire Siegel, and she's the co-founder and CEO of Flourish, an app that lifts the burden of navigating the overwhelming health and wellness space. She's a registered nutrition who, after dieting for over a decade, has made it her life's mission to help women ditch diets in favor of a sustainable approach to both physical and mental well-being. I'm excited to bring her on the show and learn how she figured it out. Okay.
Hi, everyone. So excited to be here. Thanks for having me on, Andy.
Easy. So, Claire, thank you for tuning in and showing up with us today. And thank you to the live viewers for hanging in there while we go with the flow. You know this happens with your business, right? So you're familiar. And Claire, where are you hailing from today?
I'm joining you from Austin, Texas.
Yay! We love Austin, Texas. So it has really one of the most thriving startup communities I've ever seen. Right?
Totally. Incredibly supportive. So many different types of founders. It's been a really, really amazing part of the journey just to get and kind of stay plugged into the Austin ecosystem.
I love that. So anyway, one of the things that I want to dive into right away with you, because it's so important to find out, how did you decide entrepreneurship was for you? When you were growing up, did you get exposed? Like, did your parents or other people in your family that were entrepreneurs? Or were you that person who was hustling products in third grade? Or did you just all of a sudden say, I got a problem to solve and I need to start a business to do it?
Yeah, it was honestly kind of a combination of all the above. I would say in terms of my immediate family, I am perhaps the black sheep. I come from a long line of CPAs and accountants. And and also my dad is a law professor. So I have a CPA mom and a lawyer father, which actually comes in great handy as a startup founder. But I was definitely kind of this unique person within my family. My mom definitely thought I had kind of lost my mind when I told her I wanted to major in nutrition. But I will say, kind of, if I look back, I remember there was this one instance when I was a kid and I had my grandparents set up a camcorder for me and I recorded like a little talk show from my kitchen table. So I think there has always been something in my entrepreneurial spirit, I guess you could say. Fast forward, I kind of took that, I guess, media fascination. I started a blog back in college. This was like 2011. So definitely the early days of blogging, talking about health and nutrition. But really what, kind of ultimately guided me towards this career path of becoming a registered dietitian was my own history with dieting and frankly being at war with my body from a very young age. So I started dieting at the age of 13. I went on Weight Watchers for the first time.
What?
Yeah. And I'll say this really quick. I mean, I definitely thought going through that experience at the time, dieting from the age of 13 all the way into my early 20s, I thought that was an unusual story. Come to find out, we recently did a poll of our members and over 70% started dieting before the age of 20 and 1 in 3 before the age of 15.
Wow. And what did dieting look like to them? Because, there's all types of dieting. What did that mean?
Yeah. So for many of our members, it's been, some of the name brands, of course, that you've heard of. And then for many, it's more of like a intention of being good or getting healthy or, of course, the desire to lose weight and kind of jigging, a DIY approach. Okay. I'm going to eliminate this, that, and the other, that sort of thing. But really the intention is the same, regardless of what approach you take.
Wow. Because, I'm trying to think, of course, I had an illness when I was young, and I came from a family, of sisters that, had nice thin bodies. And so, sometimes you get also put into comparison. Sometimes you have a mother who has always been svelte, and you might have a sister who's like, you could never share her clothes in a million years. Right. Yeah. And so all of a sudden you start getting this body image that is like, or people start calling you plump or these other things that mean you got to fix what's going on there, right?
Sure.
Oh my gosh. Sure. So you start seeing all of this and you said to yourself, why you, Claire? Mm-hmm. Why did you say, I want to go and fix this? This is nuts.
Yeah. So again, it's the business of Flourish and the problem that we're setting out to solve is autobiographical in nature, right? So I had this long diet history. And even when I was still going through that and still at war with my body, that's when I decided to become a registered dietitian. If you had interviewed me at that time, I would have said, I really want to help. I want to help the lives of millions, get healthy for good, which is a lot of what I say now. But really for me in the moment internally, I was really trying to solve my own personal problem. I was really trying to solve what I perceived as my weight problem.
Right.
Come to find out, it really had very little to do with that. And it was much more mental and emotional and psychological. So anyway, fast forward, I graduated as a registered dietitian. I began to work at a startup based here in Austin called Snap Kitchen as their registered dietitian. And I kind of hit a point where I was like, I think I really want to go out and do my own thing. And I did not start with this vision for Flourish that I have today, but I thought, what? I'm a registered dietitian. I can help people with nutrition. I thought I was going to be teaching women about the benefits of Brussels sprouts and strategies to eat less ice cream. And very quickly, that is when it really hit me that my story, starting dieting at a young age and being in battle with my body for such a long time, that is unfortunately kind of the norm in our society. And learning about Brussels sprouts and ice cream does not heal.
No, it does not.
That relationship with food and body. And so if we're going to do this in a meaningful, impactful, and lasting way, we have to develop a program and a product that helps heal from the root cause of some of these struggles with food and body image. And then we can start talking about sustainable behaviors and strategies for mental and physical well-being.
And I just need to step back for just a second because, folks, when you get a degree to become a registered dietitian nutritionist, it's really hard. What you had to go through just to get through the 4 years, but then you had to do, how long was your, I don't know, is it an internship?
Yeah.
What is it that you have to do to get that final accreditation?
Yeah. So you, yes, you have to do an accredited internship. And I think actually now you also have to get a master's degree as well. And not to mention prior to all that, you have to take biochemistry, physiology, organic chemistry. I mean, if I had known that's what I was signing up for, I don't know if I would have done it, frankly, but it was kind of like too late. By the time I found myself in organic chemistry, I was like, oh, I guess we're doing this. So yeah, after going through the nutrition degree, then you apply for these accredited internships. And I did that. I think that was like a year plus a semester of doing different types of rotations in the field. And I will say that was a huge learning experience for me. And it taught me a lot of what I didn't want to do, these kind of more traditional career paths. So that's how I got kind of into the startup space and just became fascinated by different ways of applying my education around nutrition in more creative, dynamic ways than perhaps what I was presented in my early 20s.
That's wonderful to hear because, and this is why it's so important that people like you are hopping into the space. I follow this phenomenal woman who was diagnosed with an adult disease when she was a teenager, MS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so she's there, she's in her wheelchair. She's talking about, diet, loving your body. And so often, I remember when the diet came out that eat your blood type.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my blood type was A for Andy, and it said that I could eat as much chocolate, or no, I could never eat chocolate. Something. It was just so opposite of what my body told me it could do.
Yes.
And I just thought, what the heck? And then you got to drink the honey and the lemon in the morning with apple cider vinegar, and all of these things, and it just puts so much pressure on the food, and then all of a sudden, the pressure to eat maybe clean, or vegan, or, I mean, it's just, how does anybody even get up and get out of bed and enjoy a bite of anything?
Absolutely. And, diets have only been around for about 200 years, and our bodies have not evolved in that time. And so a lot of what you see, or in fact, almost all of what you see in this world of dieting is really antithetical to the ways in which our bodies and our minds are designed to work. Right. And that's why you see the infuriating statistics around 95% of diets fail. 2/3 of dieters will go on to regain more weight than they lost on the diet in the first place, because it's by design, right? And so
it's like the anti-aging industry.
Yes. So really this, the at least in part, the mission of Flourish is just helping people learn to reconnect with their body's cues and learn to trust what their bodies are telling them, because our bodies are just incredibly wise, much more wise than this industry that's only been around for about 200 years, which in the grand scheme of things is a blip.
Yeah, I know. And what I really love about what you're talking about, Claire, and listening to your body, folks, I mean, I remember reading this study where this woman would gain weight. It was a study that tomatoes were not a good fit for her body. Okay. It's just experimenting.
Yeah.
What works, what doesn't, what keeps me feeling healthy and strong, what takes it away. And also giving yourself permission, I imagine, Claire, to have a woohoo. I'm hitting the buffet night, right?
Absolutely. Yes. And recognizing that it's not all or nothing, it is not either or, it is both and when you remove some of the emotions that we commonly feel around shame and guilt when it comes to food, well, then that puts you back in the driver's seat and your prefrontal cortex and this innate wisdom to make choices, and if that ever becomes overwhelming or confusing, I think that's where you partner with a trusted expert like a Flourish coach to help guide you through that process. But you gotta put down the book with the master cleanse and the, this, that, and the other.
Don't get me started. So let's come back to the business aspect, because now, we really get your passion. We get the lane that you're in it. And I just loved what you called, is it weight inclusivity?
Yeah. Weight inclusivity is the sort of antithesis of the weight normative approach, which is hyper-focused on weight loss as an outcome, oftentimes over and above health and well-being, your mental piece, right? Recognizing that, again, weight changes, whether it's weight loss, weight gain, it is an outcome of many different factors. And so instead, focusing on what are the behaviors that you can sustain that not only support your physical health, but your mental health as well. I often say that if you're doing something for your physical health that comes at the cost of your mental health, it is too expensive.
I love that. Something fierce right there, folks. At the end of the day, it's what's in between your ears that really brings the happiness to your life. Wow. Okay, so you're clear on your weight inclusivity, you're clear on your mission and your passion, and you were getting information from folks. How did you create an app? How did you come up with that MVP? Because I'm not hearing any tech background.
No, I spent 2020 figuring out how to build technology essentially. So I started what became Flourish back in 2018. I quit my job at that startup and I just started coaching women in groups and individually. And that's when I started noticing, wait a second, okay, there's a huge psychological aspect to this. There's a huge connection between women's relationship with food and their relationship with their body. Wow, these women have been dieting for a really long time. And it often, goes back to these childhood moments.
Yes.
And I also started noticing that customers were coming to me from billion-dollar diet tech programs. And I thought, man, if I could figure out the technology and infuse our ethos and our approach into that technology, I think we could help people on a much bigger scale than I'm able to help people right now. And then to your point, I don't have a technical background.
So you had to still come up with an MVP. I've got an image of how this could look and feel.
Yes, exactly. So we started at that point. We built a subscription membership on a third-party platform called Mighty Networks. That was kind of our
hold on. Let's give a shout out to Gina, female founder. Just raised 60 million.
And I'm
phenomenal.
And I'm still a huge fan of Mighty Networks. For all my, I'm friends with a lot of, not necessarily tech startup founders, but coaches and things like that. And I always recommend Mighty Networks as an amazing community and education platform. But anyway, we started there. That was kind of our first MVP. We used that to apply and ultimately get into Techstars. And that's when I started really interrogating this notion that we need to build our own technology, because I really learned it's a huge investment. It's a huge endeavor and it's very risky.
Yes. And it is a huge investment, but you got enough information. I'm thinking you went on Mighty Networks, and see, folks, Mighty Networks is a great place if you're building community.
Yeah.
And you want to have great conversations, and you want to find out what the subsets of your community are about, and you want to dive deeper. They just put it together. It's not that expensive. I think the biggest pricing point is maybe $99 a month, and you can do courses, you can do all sorts of great things and get valuable information as you begin your community.
Yep.
But to your point, at a certain point, you had to kind of grow up because you were seeing where you were headed. How did you make that decision? Did you bring in a CTO? What did that look like?
Yeah, so it's kind of a winding story. I'll try to keep it tight. So we were in Techstars, and I was talking to as many Techstars mentors as I could about this process. How do I build tech? Do I outsource? Do I build something using no-code tools? Do I need a native mobile app? Okay, if I'm going to do that, what kind of coding language should I use? Like really trying to understand what I was looking for. Ultimately, what we decided, because I didn't have that amazing tech talent in yet, that comes in a bit. What we ultimately decided to do was outsource to a dev shop that specialized in low code. So we built a low code web-based app, and we went with that decision for many reasons. One of which, I guess two, were speed and also the cost. It was a lot less.
And just give everybody an idea, what does low code mean?
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm, again, not technical, so I'm probably not the best at explaining this,
but
okay.
You'll give the layman's term.
Yeah, there we go. So low code, we ended up using a platform called Bubble. So we built our web app on a platform called Bubble. And essentially you don't need like engineers who can code, whether it's like CSS or React Native and all these Python, these languages that I don't know or understand. It's not that. It's more similar to like a drag and drop technology.
Nice. So that you don't have to have that, $150,000, $250,000 a year CTO managing that, right? Yeah. I mean, and bless their hearts for being so smart, right?
Yes.
And having that capability. You could have someone with just good, solid computer science background.
Exactly. So I will say, right around the time we made the decision to outsource the technology, I reconnected with someone who I had worked with in my past life at Snap Kitchen, Dwayne, who was the CTO of a fitness company called Camp Gladiator. So we reconnected. He began mentoring me through that process, came on as fractional CTO.
Nice.
While we were building the web app. So he started overtaking all of the dev shop, which was a phenomenal step in the right direction. And then fall of last year, he actually joined the team full time as co-founder and CTO. And so our new app, our new mobile app that we just launched into the market, he was, very much the architect of. So,
oh my gosh. And see, one of the great things that Claire has done, folks, when she said fractional CTO, that's somebody that comes on part-time, and therefore you're not out a lot of money bringing them on, but they're bringing in incredible wisdom. You can do that with your CFO as well, or a CMO. There are fractional folks out there that will give you so many hours a week that make such a huge difference, especially in being able to, quote, kick the tires. Do we work well together? Is this going to be someone I could get married to, in the sense that when you bring on a co-founder, that is such a big decision. So bravo, Claire, on that.
Thank you. It happened. I mean, so many things happened serendipitously. And I think I try to just remind myself of that and feel very grateful for it. And we made very intentional steps, taking one foot in front of the other, being data informed throughout the process so that we had the least technical debt as possible as we went through the process. And I think it also made us better for our mobile app that just launched. I mean, we now have years of this work that informed how we built that our newest product that just hit the market.
Okay. So what happened was that you kept getting better at your application, and then you got better information back from folks, and then you were able to tweak and build even better features as a result.
Exactly.
Oh, that is so good. I want to bring in the website. Can I do that? Do you mind?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Oh, that would be great. Let me just share the screen here, everybody, and pull Flourish up, because this, can you all see it?
So beautiful.
Yeah, right? Okay, can we just take a moment? It's so beautiful. Founders, that's what you want to feel when you look at your website. Like, isn't that the best? It's so important. And you're making the decisions about all the way your brand promise comes through on everything right here. It's beautiful. So I'm just going to log down, and people can get the app. No credit card is required. You've got these wonderful quotes right here, and some folks where you've seen your press, the whole body for women, by women, non-diet, weight inclusive, 100% worthiness, and what we really love, shame-free coaching. Oh my gosh, I love this website. And so it's so wonderful. I'm going to stop sharing right here, but folks, all the links are in the show notes. So how does one begin using the app when they start to download it?
Yeah, so you download it for iOS or Android. One of the first things that you'll do is select an area of focus. So we have 3, whether that's body image, food and nutrition, or self-care and confidence. And just so you know, once you select your initial goal or the area of focus that you're working on the back end, we're beginning to match you with your best fit coach. So you'll select your area of focus. You'll then select a more specific goal to begin working on within that area of focus. You get matched with your coach, and then you get dropped into the app. We give every single new member one free coaching call so that you can begin to get a sense of what Flourish is all about and if this is a fit for you. I am having dieted for 10 plus years of my life. I have so much empathy for people who are going through this right now. It is so important to me that you recognize with confidence that this is the right fit for you, and I understand that there are, this is a crowded space, to your point, Andy, and not everyone is a good player. Not everyone who says that they're non-diet really means it. And so I feel so confident and just, excited about what we're doing that I say, hey, come in, have a free conversation with a coach. Your mind will be blown for, 20, 30 minutes, and then decide if it's a right fit for you.
Okay. And so now, we all know about Noom. We've seen all the many advertisements. I think my husband signed up for a minute and said, I'm never using this.
Yeah.
Because I think that's sort of self-prompted, right? And what you're doing is you're providing some hand-holding and some accountability that's on a human touch level.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, you should not need to log every single food you eat in order to sustain your health and well-being. And for many people, that act of logging, measuring, micromanaging everything you eat is actually antithetical to your health and well-being. It creates a larger disconnect between your brain and your body.
Yeah.
Our goal at Flourish is that after you do Flourish, you never need to seek nutrition support ever again, because you know exactly how to eat for your body. As I say it, you know how to eat for life.
Yes.
We have totally overcomplicated what it means to eat well and to be well. And the fact that we think these things are smarter than our bodies is a lie of the diet industry.
Total lie. And to think, and certainly, food is, quote, healing, but some people get so micro-focused on, I can't eat that, I can't eat this, I can't eat that. It's just, oh my gosh.
Yes. And it starts it's a pendulum swing, right? I'm good all week, or I've been good for 3 weeks. And then I go to a wedding, it's my birthday, I had a stressful week at work, whatever the case may be. And for whatever reason, I fall off the wagon. And then I'm just on the other side of that pendulum swing. So this kind of all on or all off behavior is something very typical of someone who's coming into Flourish. And we help them find what is that middle ground where, yes, you can eat to feel your best for your mind and your body, and having a slice of birthday cake is no big deal.
Come on. And I always call it the Julia Childs. You don't have to eat the whole cake, but have a slice and use real butter. Yay.
Yeah. Enjoy yourself. Enjoy life.
Enjoy life. Oh, this is so wonderful. But you had to still do what everybody has to do to become profitable and successful and sustainable. You had to first find your customer sweet spot, your segment that you knew would be willing, there was just an affinity for how you were putting this information out. Sure. And you had to find out where they were hanging out. And then you had to figure out, what is it going to cost me to bring these customers on? So talk a little bit about your thought process around that, because again, folks, just because you built it does not mean they will come. You have to understand customer acquisition costs are important. They're part of your marketing investment, as part of why you raise money or get loans or find seed capital anyway, grants, whatever, is so you can invest in getting people to purchase your product and come on board. Take it away, Claire.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is another area where it was not by design how this all came about, right? I'm not one of those people who woke up one day and said, I'm going to launch a tech company. I didn't know anything about VC funding, angel investors, and we did end up going down that path. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that. But when I quit my job, I thought, okay, how am I going to make money? That was my first question. How am I going to make money? How am I going to support myself? I have to offer something of value into the world quickly and get paid quickly to just survive, to keep moving forward. And so that was kind of how our first customers came about. Is, like I said, I had been blogging since I was in college. I developed, some level of social media presence. And I had been offering them value for years and years and years. I had been developing a feeling of, they call it the like, no, trust factor. I'd been developing that. I didn't have the goal at that time to launch a business, but when I did launch this business, it certainly fared us well. And in the 4 years that we've been running what is now Flourish, we've continued doing those same things, right? Sharing of course, my story, but the story of our members, the story of our coaches, primarily on social media. So a vast majority of our customers have come in organically through those channels. And the way we see it is really thinking about reciprocity and trusting that if we're putting value out into the world and we're being brazen and bold in who we are and what we believe in as a brand and as a company, the right people will come to us and they will trust us because we have earned their trust.
And how do you earn their trust? What metrics are you pulling out of the feedback that you're getting to say, yes, we wanted to earn their trust. We wanted them to stick around. We want to have them stay. This is all, folks, the LTV, long-term value of your customers and understanding that. How have you done that, Claire?
Yeah. So, I mean, we are definitely, I would say, a data-informed company. We look at metrics as a team once a week. Our amazing head of growth, she is incredibly skilled at building scoreboards and scorecards and things like that. So we're looking at, of course, we're looking at our growth. We're looking at, in terms of like membership, downloads, conversion rates. We are looking at our CAC to LTV ratio. We are looking at that also based on specific channels, figuring out what are our most effective channels for acquisition. And then sometimes, the channels that are effective for acquisition are not effective in terms of lifetime value, that you attract the customer who's maybe looking for a deal, they're looking for a quick fix, and they're not necessarily in it for the long haul. So we find that, there's a number of touch points that are required for us to bring in a high quality, long-term customer. And that's something we're willing to do time and time again.
I got to tell everybody, I'm having an Andy-licious moment. Super fanning myself here because did you just listen to what Claire said again? Okay. This is where you need to be at, founders, thinking about customers and understanding how long are they staying? What do we need to do to retain them? What is that going to cost us? Because that all gets pulled into how much are you spending on your business? How much are you retaining? Because it's never about how much you make, it's how much you keep at the end of the day. And same with the customers. And I'm just going to pop up one of my favorite little artwork pieces here. Hop on over to my YouTube channel under the Andy-licious Advice playlist and watch my video on how to calculate the LTV CAC ratio. I make it super easy and fun, but it is so important. Know your numbers, founders. Claire, I loved that piece. Something fierce. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You've just helped so many founders, seriously, with that understanding of where these customers are coming from and how you're able to keep them there. And Facebook user creating and bringing value. Yes, it is so important. And for some reason, StreamYard is not grabbing your headshot there. So I'm so grateful that you're tuning in and grabbing the gems from our guest here, Claire. Claire, how did you fund your startup? So you said that you launched in 2018. So you had to figure out, of course, right away, you've been blogging. So you've been building up your social capital, which, folks, at the end of the day, will always be more valuable than your financial capital, just saying.
Yeah.
So you built up your social capital, but you had to get some money in the door right away. And I know that investors loved how you think, I got to make money and I got to make it right away. They often feel that way themselves. How did you first feed the company and feed yourself? And then how have you been able to grow the company?
Yeah. So for the first 2 years, and the business model was totally different then, and we can get into it or not, but I'll just say for the first 2 years, the company, it was bootstrapped. We ran off of the money that came in from our customers, similar to kind of like a more traditional business. I mean, that's how I thought businesses were made. I knew nothing about startups.
Well, listen, that's how MailChimp did it.
Yeah. So that's where we started. And I'm so grateful for that experience because it taught me so much about managing capital and how to be capital efficient, and really gave me a discipline around spending money so that when we did ultimately raise our pre-seed round, I think we've made very, very smart decisions for having done so, both in terms of how much we raised and now how we are utilizing that capital. So for the first year and a half to 2 years, we were bootstrapped. The first outside investment that we took on was through Techstars, the tech accelerator. Mm-hmm. So we did that program just over a year ago. We were in.
Did you have to give up equity for Techstars? Yeah.
Yep. Yes.
Founders know that.
Yes, really important. And I mean, for us, it was the exact right decision at the exact right time. And if anyone here is listening and wants to hear more about the Techstars experience, I'm happy to chat about it with anyone. For us, it was a total game changer, especially, like I said, I was a bootstrap first-time founder with no technical experience, no technical team, starting a tech company. So it gave us not only everything that we learned in that program, plus the capital that helped, stretch our runway a little bit while we were going through this transition. But it gave us a sense of legitimacy that I can't, of course, kind of parallel path my life and think about what would have happened if we didn't get into Techstars, but I have to imagine that it has helped.
Yeah.
Techstars,
folks, you get mentors that you can go deep with. So they're the ones who have, launched an app business and took it to this level and exited or not, but they understand. So you're tapping into a brain that is going to leverage everything you're doing.
Absolutely. So we went through the Techstars Accelerator. We raised some, or I should say, we got outside capital through that program, and then we set out to raise our pre-seed round immediately after the program. So we closed just over $1 million in funding last fall.
Oh, bravo! Yay! Oh, that's wonderful. Congratulations! And how are you using those funds to leverage what you're doing?
Yeah, so we grew our team. That was one of the big things, and we've been experimenting with paid acquisition channels. Those are kind of the two big categories in which we've been exploring and experimenting.
Talk a little bit about that, paid acquisition channels, please.
Yeah, it is such an interesting time. I don't know how much on your show you've talked about like post iOS, I think 14 life and all these privacy changes and Facebook and Instagram and the ways in which platforms have changed is significant. And it's one more reason why I'm so grateful for, I think, our unique start as this bootstrapped kind of like lifestyle business, if that's what you want to call it, is I think we are being called to go back to the time where companies had to, one, solve a real problem for real people, and two, build an incredible brand, not just pay to play.
That's right. And building that in a place where they can go and find it.
Yeah.
That you're not subject to the social media platforms rise and fall.
Sure. Exactly. So, we've had some paid experiments that have done really well, some paid experiments that were a huge waste of money. And I think what the way I've shifted my mindset around it is just, we experiment to learn, to grow, to learn again. And if there is an experiment that is not going well, we have to be quick to cut it off, look at the data, assess our learnings, and use that information moving forward. And it's part of the process. It's the name of the game, but only like bite off as much as you can chew. You know what I mean?
That's right. And move quickly. If something doesn't work, really watch those numbers. And the minute it's like, whoa, that's not working, wipe it off.
Exactly.
And go and pick up the other one. Oh my gosh, this is such great. So as you've been building over the last 4 years, what fails have just like stood out to you? Like, oh my gosh, that kept me up for a few days.
Yeah. Okay. There's certainly a few things that come to mind.
And I bring this up, folks, because we always hear one win after another and win, and it can make, the newbie founder feel like, oh my gosh, am I isolated and, and all alone and all the things and disasters I'm working out? No, it's part of your founder journey. It's just how quickly you understand the disaster and recover from it. So thank you, Claire, for sharing.
Totally. And it's funny because I as I was thinking about this question, sometimes I have a hard time like looking at things as failures, even if they
learnings, because of the bad connotation with the word failure. You're right.
Exactly. It's like we are where we are today, and I'm so proud of where we are today and I recognize like the failures are only serving us. So if that's helpful from like a mindset shift perspective for anyone and watching, I'm happy to share it. I think one is like super practical. We hired some agencies early on post funding, and I think that it was the wrong call. It's too expensive. And
to do for your digital advertising?
Exactly. For paid ads.
Yeah.
And I just think we're too early and they were too expensive. And it just, the math did not make sense. And I'm much more invested emotionally and financially at this point into really building and nurturing a strong in-house team. So that was one, just like practically speaking.
Yeah.
The agency is not necessarily, at least in my experience, going to be the one that is up late, working weekends, nimbly testing and caring about your capital as much as you do.
That's right. And also you can, if you're walking by and they're doing a TikTok or, creating some content, then you can go, oh, I like that. And if you tweak this or did that, and they're like, oh, that's great. And it's just a collaboration where, agencies may have a lot of connections that are wonderful. And if it's right for your platform, great. But I agree with you 100%. When they're in-house, magic happens.
Absolutely. And so that's been, a shift for us. And I think that was again, it's like hard for me to classify as a failure because we learned, we cut it off quickly, and now we've been investing in our in-house resources, and it's been amazing, right? So in theory, it was like we made a mistake, but I'm so glad we learned it when we did.
It's the old contrast moment, folks. So, we call them fails, mistakes, learnings. What happens is that you have to make a mistake as a founder. It is your job to continue to make one mistake after another because it's going to inform you and help you make better decisions going forward. It's going to be that contrast like, oh, hell no, or oh, yes. How do you make that work better? So Claire, thank you so much for sharing that. As you've been building your business, is there a fun tool, a book, anything that's really helped you soar more as a founder or helped your team communicate more as a founder that you think other founders would benefit from?
Yeah, so many. I mean, so many. We could have a whole podcast just about like my favorite things and tools. Okay, I'll give off a few if that's okay for different categories. Yeah. Okay, in terms of learning about fundraising, you've probably heard about it on this show before, but Venture Deals is an amazing. I think I've been sent 4 copies because it is just kind of like the master guide to this process, and I didn't have background in it, and it was incredibly helpful. In terms of organizing your brain as a founder and also organizing your team, we are huge fans of Notion at Flourish, and they do great discounts for startup founders and startups. So Notion is one of my favorite programs. I use it. I'm looking at a Notion note right here. In terms of growth and customer acquisition, we've been really having a lot of fun with TikTok. Especially me personally, I'm such a fan of the platform, and I think
what handle are you on TikTok? I'll add that.
I think it's the same as my Instagram, Claire_Siegel.
Okay, so not like your Twitter handle, but your
exactly. Yeah, Claire_Siegel. And then the last resource, and this is more for like your mental and emotional well-being, is other founders. Or I've been getting coached. I have an amazing executive coach. I've been getting coached for the last year, and it has completely changed the game.
Right. Yeah. When you get the high level executive coach, folks, they are working on your skill set as an owner, as a CEO. So there's no training for any of this. So if you need to make that investment in yourself so that you can show up in a much better way. And like, for example, when we had Jennifer Mendoza from Mendoza Ventures on the show, they invest in fintech and cybersecurity and AI companies. She talked about when she wrote, invested her first check, her hand was shaking when she was giving it. She said, this will never work. I can't be like nervous about giving them a check. So she got herself a great executive coach. They have been soaring as a result. I just want to use that as an example, right?
Yeah. My coach often says that as founders and certainly as CEO, you are an emotional super spreader. And so you think like that there's this separation between who you are as a person and the business and your thoughts and feelings. And it is all the same, mishmash of things. And so if your thoughts and feelings if you don't have a place to process those in a very transparent and real way, it's going to be impacting your business. And so that was something I had to wrap my mind around as well, as recognizing this is not only a worthwhile investment, but it is actually a necessary investment. I have to have my mind right so that I can show up the way that I want to show up for my team so they can do the things that they need to do.
That's right. I mean, when you look at the CEOs of major corporations, they didn't start in the mailroom, but I'm telling you, they have gone through a lot of crap to get where they are leading that Fortune 1000 company. You are too, as founders, going through a lot of processes, and you need someone to fine tune that for you, help you throw out what doesn't matter. And boy, do I love that emotional super spreader.
Yeah, I know. I think about it all the time.
That's so great. And so speaking of mindset hacks, that's so important. Do you have a favorite mindset hack for when you're having founder doubt? And, folks, I never say if, it's when. Of course, you are human. You're going to feel moments of like, oh my gosh, did I make the right decision? Why am I here? Why bother? What helps you just shift out of that with compassion for yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I think self-compassion is hugely important. A tool that I use it myself, and I also teach our members this tool more around like food and body image stuff, but it's a very elegant exercise. I call it a brain dump. And if I'm having, a moment of insecurity or self-doubt or something is just going on in my mind, I will take out my journal, and I journal regularly, and I'll write the thing that, is bugging me or that's on my mind at the top of the sheet of paper. And then I will just let my mind go, and I will write stream of consciousness about that topic for, 3-5 minutes, not a long time. And then I will go back and audit that kind of list of thoughts. And I'll ask myself, is this thought true? And is this thought serving me? And if it is not serving me, I will work to replace it with a new thought that is more true, that actually helps move me forward. Because at the end of the day, our actions, the behaviors that we do or do not engage in, are 100% fueled by our emotional state. And so to the extent that your startup is relying on you taking effective action, you have to address what's happening emotionally as well.
Oh my gosh, everybody, here we go. Is that thought serving you?
Yeah.
I see that on the pillow, because you're going to have the thoughts, and sometimes you just got to put it on a leaf and watch it float down the river, or put it in a hot air balloon and let it go bye-byes. Wonderful advice. Okay, so you've been in this founder journey for 4 years now, over 4 years. How has it served you? What have you really noticed? Because you've been so good at helping so many folks. How has it served you both professionally and personally?
Yeah, I mean, and again, I think it's so hard for me to even separate those two, because I've recognized there have been times where I've thought, man, this thing is really taking over my life. All I do is work, and it's part of it is I've sacrificed things that I see, friends or family members being able to do or enjoy, and that's just not, the life of a founder quite often. And when I recognize that this work and the problem that we're solving at Flourish and the mission that I'm on is my bigger purpose in life, well, then all the other anxiety and sometimes shame I felt about other decisions I have to make or things that I have to put on the back burner or put by the wayside, it felt justified. So I think identifying and recognizing that I'm doing this because I love it, because it is meaningful to me, and it is also truly a manifestation and a vehicle of my core values. And so I also I take a look at the decisions I'm making and how the business is running, and I think, is this in alignment with my personal values? Yes or no, and kind of adjust and iterate from there.
Yeah, and what you just said is so important, Claire. Folks, your business is worthy of the effort that you are making.
Yeah.
And that's why you want to continue to bring your best and continue to up your founder game. Oh my gosh, Claire, so many great nuggets today in this conversation. How can the startup life community add wind to your sails, open some doors for you? Give us your ask.
Yeah, I will say just share the word of Flourish. If you know women in your life who are tired of battling food in their body, there is an app where they can create peace, where they can heal and sustain health promoting behaviors from there. So they can start Flourish for free. Check us out. Go to weflourish.com. And like I said, either join yourself or share it with a friend or family member. I think nearly all of us know probably at least 1 or 2 people who could benefit from the way that we're approaching.
Oh, especially after a 2-year pandemic.
Oh yeah. Big time, big time.
Big time, because our brains are beautiful, folks, but sometimes they are indoctrinated to give us some really ugly messaging. And when it's around food, which is such an elemental part of our lives, and as someone who had insomnia for almost 40 years and just had that fixed because of reframing, it is about reframing for your body, listening to your body, what you need. Remember, all that average stuff, all the things that people pull out there, Claire and the Flourish app folks are going to help you shift and have whatever that weight looks like for you. You're going to be strong and healthy and happy in whatever that weight journey looks like or health journey looks like for you. They're there to hold your hands. I'm so happy to have met you. So happy to learn about the Flourish app. And thank you. What a day I'm having. This is my 156th episode in 2 years. It's very exciting, the things that can happen with live. Excuse me. So Claire, I'm going to pop you into the green room. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I'm going to just say a few words to the folks here before I sign off. with whatever's going on, honestly. Anyway, the most important thing is that we continue to show up no matter what. I'm so grateful that you all showed up today to grab the gems from Claire and grab all the insights that you can use for your business. Let me tell you who's coming on next. Okay, now we're going from finding the sweet spot for your place to picking up the phone and connecting with new customers. This is Wendy Harris. She's based out of the UK. Excuse me. And she's an expert telemarketer, queen of conversation, and she's a natural chatterbox, and she's going to help us do a better job at picking up that phone and filling our sales funnel. And I know we are going to learn so much from Wendy's 30 years in the sales and communication department. I'm so glad you hung in there with me today. What a time I'm having. You are the best. I can't wait to see you next time. Remember to stay strong, stay focused, and remember that you've got this, okay? So stop by on social media anytime you want and say hello. And I'm cheering you on here from Boston. Have a great time, everyone. Mwah. See you next time.